Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Sorry, just getting everything set up here this morning. Yeah, so stock market is still positive. So no big changes there. Yeah, so we'll get started here. Couple different little penny stocks that were kind of moving this morning. Nothing too fancy, nothing too great. But yeah, market currently still in a buy move. We aren't over. We're not in a sorry, we're not in a sell move. That's for sure. VIX itself hasn't broken out either, so we shouldn't probably be looking at big sell moves just yet. Ugh. Okay, yeah. So we'll start here with a little Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, obviously, if you guys are already familiar, ran up into our daily kind of VWAP zone, if you will. Let's kind of anchor to this guy too. So this is a little bit about what we talked about sometime last week, I think, but nonetheless, we talked about how, when Bitcoin finds its footing off this leg, it will then retrace back up into basically this zone here. Kind of a large zone, but it is what it is. And then if the daily chart wants to kind of stay bearish or stay into a lower high, then this is where we're essentially going to be doing it, right? So essentially the market goes down, oversold, bounce back, go down, oversold, bounce back, go down, right? The only way we're going to kind of change that structure is by getting up and through here, which we haven't done. So this is still just resistance and down as that daily chart is obviously developing its lower low, lower high scenarios. At some point in the future, we will stop doing a daily chart, lower low, lower high, and we will end up transitioning to a weekly chart, lower high, but that's just when it happens. It hasn't happened yet, but um, at some point we will fail to hold daily chart lower lows and lower highs. It's just bound to happen. Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't have to, but it probably will. So when that happens, we'll be here for it. But Bitcoin's is doing everything we'd expect it would do. Basically, we came into October of 2025, expect the bear market to start. Bitcoin's been moving bearish ever since, creating lower low, lower high scenarios. So essentially, Bitcoin is it's kind of doing what you'd expect it would do into this October. Good morning, Rico. Good morning to the three of you here. Today is going to be the day. Today is going to be the day. I can just feel it in my bones. YouTube is just going to be like blasting the stream everywhere. It's gonna be crazy. No, probably not, but it's all good. So, yeah, that's Bitcoin. Really not a whole lot more to say there. As far as the market, I haven't really put a ton of thought into the market this morning, but we are kind of on a little bit of a support right now. Market doesn't look strong this morning by any means. We're definitely doing the lower low, kind of lower high jam right now. We just came into a 30-minute VWAP support here, which is the yellow line. So we're kind of battling against a 30-minute VWAP support along with, the pre-market top down. So, essentially going into the morning, we always kind of look for moves back to the 30-minute VWAP. If we can get over that, market's going to kind of keep pressing momentum in the immediate. But I'll just try to keep it as simple as I can. We're still in a positive market. But right now, we're kind of working the market down with that 30-minute VWAP and rolling down. So we just kind of let the markets pull back till they find support. They find support in a couple different ways. We'll see how that comes up during the day. I guess I'll bring down this chart here. So here are a couple of the A couple of the different plays today for penny stock. So QNRX. So this one is good in the sense that we have broken out. We've pulled back to the 4 hour trend and basically got support there. So this morning I already bought dips into that. Sold on the way up. I'm no longer involved. Kind of wanted to keep a little bit on, ended up not, but I took a pretty decent trade on that. If it keeps going, whatever it is, what it is, there'll be another one tomorrow, hopefully. But this one looks pretty decent, just in general. But again, I can't really recommend it in the sense that you're late because your entry would be there or into this dip. So market is now up about 28% from there. Now, again, remember, these are all the things I teach you every single day. So whether or not I'm online or not, and you're looking around, you should already know what you're looking for. We do this every single day. We teach you the same exact thing every day, and you see this stuff repeat every single day for the most part, right? So this one broke out, put it back. There's your long, right? And now you just hope that whoever is manipulating the stock keeps running it up for you. All right, that's pretty much all you can do. The other one this morning that I played with was TURB, Turb. Um, Pretty much it's the same scenario. Let me delete a couple of these things here. But I will bring us to this chart here. So if we come to here, Turb, 4 hour chart, $3.12. That's where area of focus would be. That's not the only one too. There's another one. It's the 30-minute down here. They might use the 30-minute too today. Actually, we're right on it right now. Let's see. So yeah, TURB, we're right onto the 30-minute trend support. So that's, we'll see. I don't really like the way it looks, so I'm probably not going to mess with it. So this one, as you can see, right, starts its breakout over the 30-minute. Then it goes to the 4 hour, breaks out the 4 hour, and then there's the back test of the 4 hour. So that's where I started involving myself on TURB this morning, was into the 4 hour. Took some profit on the way up. I wasn't even involved in that spike, unfortunately. But my bounce here was about 10, got somewhere in the 10%. I'm like, that's cool. So anyways, TURB, same scenario as QNRX. Again, the patterns are the exact same every single penny stock you look at every single day. Well, that's not true, right? The patterns are different, but the uptrends and downtrends, they all start the same way. And they all, for the most part, respect relatively the same rule and structure, if you will. So that's another one I found this morning a little earlier that basically met the requirements for a trade. So got involved on that one. That was okay. And then there was a couple other ones as well. Let's see. So I messed around with PRSO this morning, KLTR. Actually, I still have a buyout on KLTR. CYN, so I lost on CYCN, lost on, well, have a loss on KLTR currently. Have a realized loss on PRSO. I have a realized gain on QNRX, realized gain on TURB. I have a small open position on ZENA. So you can see I've messed around with a few penny stocks, but of the ones I did, those are the two that were the best. ZENA actually just so this is why I've been messing with CENA or ZENA because it's the same thing, right? This is the 4 hour trend. We broke it out, we pulled back, I started buying long. So this one just didn't, not that it didn't, it's just again, it hasn't done that kind of two-step magoo. It's really just kind of rolled back to support. So if we start giving that up, that's where more weakness comes in, right? So that's another one I've been messing around with this morning. PRSO. So you can see every single penny stock that you see I'm bringing up that are kind of moving this morning. They all have the same thing mapped off on them, a yellow line, just because that's what the color of my support and resistances are. But you can see it's all the same stuff, right? So now we're at PRSO. So why did I like PRSO this morning? Because again, it broke out, coming down into its uptrend support. There's your back test, and there's your long, right? So that long itself was 16%. Um, and do I still have actually, all right, close out on this. Okay, so this one I took, that's right, I closed out and took the loss because eventually I kind of turned over and we broke down support. So I'm no longer involved in that because we took down the support. So not that it couldn't do something crazy. It's just there's just for me, it doesn't make sense to stay involved now that we're not in that uptrend motion that I like there. So let's take a look at CYCN. CYCN, I must have deleted the level I was looking at, but I know I was looking at it. Where's the 4 hour chart? Right here, 4 hour CYCN. All right, so CYCN, I was like, well, maybe this one gets a bid caught on it. Back in this chart. So you can see pretty much same thing. 4 hour chart, no back test, has to fade out to trend support. There's the attempt and then no. But sometimes we'll see setups like this that get picked all the way back up, but this one just didn't. So I had to take the loss on that one. Pretty small though. Overall, still made money on the day so far trading all these stocks. So that's a good. Where's the other one? That was KLTR. So then we'll take a look at KLTR here real fast. KLTR. Good morning, Rigo. You even got some bids to keep buying in. So you can even see I got some bids just kind of floating down at where I'm hoping it sells to. So I'm looking to just kind of keep accumulating if we kind of drop down to this. Now remember, I'm trading in my small account, so I can't over leverage huge shares on any of my plays until this account gets big, big. So, you can see I'm just loaded up just shares at kind of different prices in that area because it's all going to be around. Again, look at right there. There's that. Let me just put it in there, highlight that, and then we'll flip to like this guy here. All right, so just a bunch. So you can see, right, where was the uptrend? All right, so here we go. There's your 4 hour. There's your back test, and there's your long, essentially. So this is in the event that we kind of sell down here and then end up getting a low risk bounce, right? So it's kind of more of like a bounce idea that I'm lined up for, but just hasn't really hit. Though I do have small position on it right now in the event I was wrong and it got picked up before. So that's something else I'm kind of focused on a little bit today. Probably not going to be the greatest, but we'll see. So that's pretty much all the penny stock stuff. Pretty straightforward. And yeah, then what do we got? Bitcoin rolling over, stock market's in a buy signal. I'm still swing long the stock market. I still have a small position on that. Obviously, it's not going up right now, so I'm actually, my P&L is going down on that, but whatever, just is what it is. Market's still positive, so this is kind of that last bit that I'm willing to hold until either the market breaks down or until I'm just sick of it, if you will. So yeah, we'll see what the day brings. Again, I don't have a whole lot more to really say. Yeah, we'll just work the market down off the 30-minute volume weighted average price until we find some support. Then we'll look to be long. If the market tells us we're not supposed to be long, we won't try to be too aggressive long. If the VIX end up breaking down or breaking out, then we'll use that. And just none of that stuff's happened. Which reminds me, we should probably talk a little bit on the VIX here. Um, so yeah, let me bring that back up. All right, so this is, what we're going to look at right now is how we could change our bias, right? So when, if, can we change our bias on the market with reasons for the VIX or VVIX? So I'll bring up VVIX. So VVIX, if um, yeah, so BVIX, this is basically institutional volatility. So institutional volatility has broken down, right? So you saw the past couple of days, the stock market's basically been going up, right? If you look behind the scenes at institutional volatilities in a downtrend are breaking down, which if you were to relate that to the stock market or the SPY, basically just means that the institutions are no longer kind of hedging volatility. Right, if volatility is increasing, that means banks, institutions, basically smarter traders, if you will, are hedging bets via volatility, right? Um, so you can kind of think of this as the flow. And it's not totally perfect, but if you were in a perfect world, which sometimes this all worked kind of perfect, um, generally the flow of this is so we'll think about this real quick. So the flow of the market, and this is something I just learned a little bit. I was always good at VIX, and now this has given me a deeper understanding of VIX and also given me leading indicators to the VIX. And so it's cool. But anyways, here's the flow. VVIX is institutional volatility, to put it simple. And then the volatility index is if you will, the confirmation of volatility actually entering into the market. And then next to follow would be the S&P 500 reacting based off the VIX. So you can think of the flow of money and, the involvement in the market as if institutions may see something coming that could drop the market, they will start hedging. And as a result, VVIX will start to go up. And that's not the VIX, that's volatility of volatility. I know it might be a little deep, but Institutions get involved. They start to hedge because maybe they think CPI will be bad or FOMC will be bad. And as a result, the volatility index will start to creep up. If the volatility index ends up breaking out its 30-minute, then that means those in the institutions that were hedging their bets were correct. So you can think of hedge bets, VIX or VVIX goes up. If the hedging that we're all doing is legitimate, then we'd assume what? The VIX should break out. If VIX breaks out, it's then confirming my VVIX or the institutional VVIX flow. If the VIX breaks out, then fear starts to increase. The stock market then drops. Those that started the hedging via VVIX are now correct. VIX breaks out, they're more correct, and then hopefully that fear translates into the markets, then the markets drop and you win, right? So that's the flow. So there's times where we can see that institutions are getting involved in the market even well before, not really well before. It's not like you're seeing it weeks ahead of time. But we can look at VVIX and get an understanding if institutions are moving in on plays prior to you seeing any sort of reaction in the market and even reactions in the volatility index. So when you hear me talk of VIX and VVIX, yes, volatility of volatility. It's funny, right? That, so that being said, there can be times where we will see the VVIX start to break out. That can give me an indication the VIX is getting ready to break out, which then tells me the market's getting ready to roll. Those are the things that we watch for on the VIX. So when you hear me say, I don't have a whole lot to say, maybe some things will change. Maybe we'll look at the VIX and maybe the VIX will tell us to start being bearish, right? Or maybe we'll see something on the VVIX. None of those things are happening right now, right? So I'm not going to say, hey guys, we should just be shorting the market today because the VIX is breaking out. No, that's not happening, right? So any sort of decrease that we're seeing in the markets right now for me would not be reasons that the VIX is, breaking out or VVIX is breaking out. Could that change? Sure, but it's not happening right now. So what I just see is we're in a bullish move on the market. We're currently pulling the market back. The institutions are not breaking VVIX out. So it would tell me that the institutions, well, then again, VVIX will see more when the market opens, right? But if the market's pulling back like it kind of is now, and the VIX isn't breaking out and VVIX isn't breaking out, well, then the markets aren't really scared, right? It's just a pullback. Okay. Now, if we saw a pullback happening on the market, then all of a sudden VVIX breaks out, when we might say, the institutions are the ones behind this pullback, right? This is actually a real pullback. All right. So those are the things we can kind of look for to gain extra edge. And so that's basically what we're doing behind the scenes and I'm doing on this stream for you guys every day. So what I would say right now is we do not have any sort of breakout on the VIX taking place just yet. So, and the VIX actually just broke down its 5-minute trend. So, very high frequency trading trends right now, HFT trends, if you will, just broke down the 5-minute. So, as far as like immediate momentum for the VIX, well, yes, for the market, I guess you could say if you wanted the market to keep going down, then you wouldn't want the VIX to be breaking down the 5-minute trend. Not that that's a big deal. Those are just the kind of the very small intricacies of the market. But yeah, so VIX is still in a negative trend. The market is still in a positive trend. So we're not going to be super bearish the stock market even today. Um, we are going to stay long bias overall, and that's pretty much it. And we're just going to be looking for dips to back up. That's it. We will change that bias, and you will hear me change that narrative when either VIX, VVIX breaks out or the stock market breaks down. All right. So it's still swing long market. Yeah. And then you obviously know things can always pull back, right? So you guys have all been taught this as well on this stream. All right. So Connor told me we go bearish if the stock market breaks down, or maybe we go bearish if the volatility index or institutional volatility breaks out. None of which are both, none of those two are happening. So what other way could we be a little bearish on a day, even if it's a bullish market? If we look in all the market internals and the advancing and declining issues of the stock market are going down. If that's happening, you cannot move a market bullish even though it's in a buy signal, right? You still need the participation from other stocks in the market to be doing good for the market to go up. So there's basically three ways we really be bearish when, aside from looking at a candle and seeing it's red and getting emotional and going, oh, it's bearish. No, 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 stop. Is the VIX or VVIX signaling fear? Yes. Okay, stop going long. Maybe be bearish. All right. Is the stock market breaking down its trend? Yes. Okay, then stop being long. Maybe go bearish. Are we in a buy signal, positive trend? But all of the advancing and declining issue metrics on the day are going down? If yes, maybe pause on the long. Arguably, you can trade bearish today. If those things aren't happening, you're on the opposite side of the market. All right. So those are the questions you ask yourself every single day when you wake up. If you are going to involve yourself with the S&P 500 and watch it on a day-to-day basis, whether you're going to trade it, whether you're just going to invest in it, whether you just want to watch for fun, those are the questions you ask yourself and you analyze day by day, every single day you wake up, and you're going to have a really good idea as far as how the markets like to move and when we are getting ready to take them down and things like that. You won't have to wait for news cycles. You won't have to wait for someone like Connor on YouTube to tell you so. You can have all those tools at your disposal already. They're already all available. You just got to watch them a little bit more frequently and every single day, really, and then you'll start to read them very well. I've been reading basically the same system now. I don't know for I forgot when I really started implementing this, but it's been a couple years now, right? Maybe 4 years now, maybe three. I don't know. It's been a while. Probably three. I don't know. So I've been looking at the same SMA system, and comparing them between VIX and SPY and QQQ, and for 3 or so years now. So granted, it's a little easier for me to look at it now because I've been doing it for so long. Same exact system every single day, never changes. Um, you know, so yeah, just follow along, watch a little more, and you guys will probably all get the hang of it sooner than later. You guys probably already have a better hang of it than I do, to be honest. Is that frozen? Um, hmm. Can you guys actually hear me or no? That's weird. All my stuff is like straight frozen on one chart. That's lit. Love that. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Just straight up can't do anything on my web browser this morning. Nice. Love it. Wait, what? Now it's gone. All right. This is one of those days where you know something's just bound to be weird. That is so odd. Don't know how or why that's happening, but okay. Bring that bring that back there. Hmm. Yeah, my bad. All of a sudden my everything just kind of stopped working there. My charts are like straight frozen. And so I just kind of closed my browsers and it seems like everything's coming back into focus. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. Hey, look at that bounce right off the support we talked about, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I know I wasn't very verbal about it, but I guess I'm never too. But we're just looking at. I'll show you how we got that one. So if I go to a regular trading hours chart, so I use this strategy from time to time. So if you see how I'm using the 30-minute right now, so you see how we have these lows on the 30-minute. So I'm taking VWAP at that low, VWAP at that low, and where's that come in? Right there. So you can kind of see I have these two lines. They're kind of it's really like right there to there. So those two lines that I have there, and actually let me just do that. So basically we're just anchored to that 30-minute. That's how I've gotten those two horizontal yellow lines priced right there. So then where is my 30-minute VWAP support from a regular trading hours? end up on an after hours chart right into there. So that's why I'm kind of more of a dip buyer in this location. And then obviously our first target's always going to be that 30-minute VWAP there. So basically, in a sense, that long trade from that dip to that 30-minute VWAP would be complete. Now, I'm not saying we're not going higher. I'm just saying as far as like a short-term trade, that would very well be a setup and things we look for. So, yay. Oh, I gotta get this guy out of there so I can see if we got any new. Oh, DS. What is DSP? I missed that. Could be late. Let's see, DSP. It's kind of, well, it's not really got a ton of momentum. It's in earnings, but the overall chart pattern actually looks kind of decent. I'm not one to talk about patterns, but there is a bull flag on that one off the bottom that's been developing since a couple weeks. So. But again, I don't like to use flags and patterns in my analysis because they're so hit or miss anyways. So do you remember, well, honestly, do you remember, right? So I'll just so we're gonna move this put a little, yeah, we're gonna do that. So we're gonna move, you see I added that yellow line to the top of that move now. So now you can kind of see visually on a 1 minute chart, right? This is that right there. That's that 30 min VWAP. So that would be like target long in the short term up to there. So this is where a lot of times the pre-market 30-minute VWAP is going to hold resistance because short sellers from the pre-market session, right, are trying to keep the trend down, if you will, or just in general. So if we kind of delete some of this randomness, oh my gosh, I put a lot on there. Maybe I gotta get better at that. Or wait, I'm using Zoom. Oh, snap. Let's go. Life just got so much better. Because now, bam. And then I can just hit. It's been a while since I've used this. Clear all drawings. Yeah, let's go, baby. Let's go. That is more exciting than making money trading when you don't have to delete your drawing tools over and over and over. So, anyways, there's that 30-minute little VWAP thingamagoo. Shift into there. Yeah. So, for short-term trading, you could have scalped short there, you could have taken long up to there, and now ideally we're going to need to get above that zone to really convince the people that have been taking this market down and shorting these tops to really exit. So, you know. So for short-term trading, that was kind of pushed back to 30-minute VWAP resistance. Now we'll be looking at down off that 30-minute VWAP until obviously we find some support, and then obviously break out. In this case, these previous highs there. But yeah. Ooh, chilly, dude. Oh, oh, man. Hmm. Well, good morning to all. Good morning to everyone. Ooh, is that a new one? USEA? Is that anything good? Huh? It's starting an uptrend, but there's no volume. Is it kind of an earnings? It is. It's just kind of one of those ones you don't really know. No volume, but I'll show you right now. So you can see USEA if you look over here on the scanner. My custom something blah blah blah. Anyways, USEA $1.55. So bring this puppy down. So I brought up USEA. Here's the 4 hour chart. Where's our trend? $1.60. Look at the 30-minute. Where's our trend? Here. Oh, Nike's $1.50. So we got $1.50 right there. So we bring up this bad boy like that. Whoa, hello, hey, 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 slow down, slow down. Look at that guy. So you can already see it, right? Look at how low the volume is, but look at how it's reacting. Same as all, right? Break over. Well, first whoa, I didn't even mean to do that. Oh, and I can do the drawing tools. Let's go. Yes. Wait, hold up. Hold up. Yes, that's all I want. Yes, this is all good. Everything is stop it. Zoom. So this would be break over 30-minute. 30-minute uptrend start. I know it doesn't look like much. Then this would be break over the 4 hour, 4 hour uptrend start, back test right there. All right, so it doesn't look like much. But again, remember that computers and algorithms run the market, you don't. So for HFTs and whatnot, that's a perfectly fine setup, right? Because they can get bids there. We, us, you, that would be that would be very challenging, right? Because there's no volume. Market makers are not going to be willing to give us a fill there. They're going to create the spread, and we're just not going to get that great entry. Not saying it's not going to be good. It's just there isn't liquidity in that move, but it doesn't mean that the systems aren't working, that the computers aren't trading the systems. You can see it clear as day, right? Over 4 hour backtest, 4 hour, you can even see a perfect doji wick there. So again, it's a repeatable system all day, every day. So far. And if it stops working, well, I guess I'll have to find something new. Hmm. All right. I think there's this one. Maybe I already saw that. H and IG. Yeah, so we're starting to get some kind of burning stuff to come out. QNRX. All right. Real cool. All right. Well, market's about to open, so we'll go back to the old spy. Whoa, hello, baby. Oh, man, is it chilly in this freaking bedroom? Oh, oh, man. Sorry, folks. I've been working hard these past couple weeks with not a lot of sleep. You need to pump it. You need to pump it up. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, VIX open, BVIX open, no real gauge on that for the moment. Take a look at this guy, market internals, S&P up, FANG not really up, advancing declining issues, trying to move up. Um, Come on, there you go. As far as the market goes, where's the three? Three zero be right in the middle. About there. All right, so we got a little bit of green coming on the Fang there. I mean, it's kind of indecisive. I don't want to say indecisive, but not enough really detail there for me yet. But let me check out this guy here to see. So a little overbought, overbought. Yeah, so for the moment, you could say on the tick stuff, we're slightly overbought, but it's again, it's kind of hard to gauge for the moment. Again, ideally, we want to see, well, it really doesn't matter what we see, but if we want things to keep going up, we're basically going to need these Magnificent Seven to hold, not sell off, and arguably the advancing declining issues to start picking up a little bit more. We're currently above, is that correct? I gotta double check that. Actually, before I say anything, I gotta, okay, yeah, so that's gonna be the ups. All right, so we do have advancing declining issues more on the long side, but they're gonna have to hold there based off of numbers. This could also be a situation where the market may be just trying to reset some of these tick charts to get the markets to more of a better, excuse me, better entry before we really push this thing up. Right now, we do got the Magnificent Seven putting in some green candles, obviously helping hold the market. We don't have great participation from S&P issues, nor a great, participation from the advancing declining issues of the market in general. So we still don't really have a full-blown long right now. It's still kind of slightly lackluster. And then side note too, um, is that what I was looking for? Hold on, no, it's on the cues. And then basically put it this way too, when the market is ready to kind of roll over for us, if that's when the VIX breaks out, whatever, whatever, we will be looking to take the NASDAQ, back down towards prices of like 615, 616, 613s, etc. Can't really say that's right now, but just an FYI, it's like we do have reasons. What we already have targets on the downside. It's just a matter of when the market is rolling and ready to go get such things. But just want to discuss that right now. But again, like we said, we don't have the VIX breaking out. We don't have VVIX breaking out. We don't really have an extremely bearish market based off of market internals for the time being. I would say we just kind of have a lackluster open where it's like markets aren't really screaming bullish. They're not really screaming bear. So you're kind of seeing what we're getting so far, just kind of just like hanging out at the open. Nothing's really going one way or the other. It's just kind of chilling. So it's to me kind of makes sense. I actually didn't even look at the economic calendar this morning, so probably should do that. Economic calendar Tuesday. Fed Bar. Michael Barr. Cool. So pretty much absolutely nothing. So there's really no catalyst today via data that should run us down realistically. There's nothing looming. So unless Trump just randomly tweets something or something crazy happens, there really, to me, there's no reason for the markets to actually be going down. We're not signaled that we should be based off the VIX or VBIX for that matter. And the market internals on the day don't really suggest we should just be getting spanked. So I gotta say we're still there's really no bearishness there yet. And if we can kind of really start to get this market moving up, we'll probably be looking at taking the SPY up towards prices of 680.64 and arguably the NASDAQ up towards like $621.96. Granted, like we said, we kind of got to get through this 30-minute view application on the SPY and kind of get some acceptance above that. And anyone shorting in the pre-market should be able to help kind of pop us up as they start to cover their plays too. As they get a little nervous and stop out, they should be able to help us get the market up towards like 621.96 on the Qs or so, and whatever I just said, 680.64 on the SPY. Oh, we hit 621.55 on the NASDAQ there, which is a 61% retracement. I was hoping we get the 50 fib at 621.96, but decided to basically pin us right at 621.55. Little turds. Little stinky turd. Okay, basically just gonna kind of sit back here. I don't see any new penny stocks there, I don't think, but I'm gonna take a little scan. Oh boy. Oh, where did this one come from? Hmm, when did this happen? Kind of like that. Yeah, kind of watching this LPSN right now. It's moving okay. It looks like it's an earnings move. I have no idea if it's going to continue, but it looks okay. So I took a small stab at that one. Again, I don't put on huge positions with this account, but I got a small stab on LPSN. So we'll just see if hopefully that thing remains bullish for the day. Again, I don't control anything. I just know it's in an uptrend. It's moving good. There's arguably too much attention on things like QNRX, right? Maybe, some of these other ones that started popping up earlier. So I'm kind of looking at, what else is moving that maybe wasn't so popular this morning. Looks like my KLTR is moving in the right direction. I did not get my fills on that though, so that's okay. See anything else? Yeah, nope. This guy, nope. CY. Oh, wait, hold up now, darling. Ooh, I gotta do it. Gotta take a small stab at CYCU too. What's the risk? Actually, I think I might have. Did I jump the gun a hair too early? Let's see. I don't know. Maybe. Risk is like 13%. That's not great, but we'll see. Whatever. I got some cushion there. Do 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 do. Do. Talk about a super lame market today. Oh, LPSN, lame, lame. That's okay. Let's see. That's got all the way down to there. Well, let's see. Market just still meh. Like we said, if you look at the advancing declining issues on the stock market today, all pretty much going down, S&P going down, Magnificent Seven staying up, which, as we discussed before, it's very rare that you get Magnificent Seven going up and the market's going down. But again, we do have pretty steep declining there on advancing issues and declining issue, or advancing and declining issues, sorry, excuse me. And now do remember, this is all in line with what we talked about, which was what? Which was where is the 30-minute VWAP of the pre-market? Right about that yellow line. And it moved a little bit, if you will, but ultimately, what was I gonna say? Yeah, ultimately that's the resistance. So that's why we track the top-down 30-minute VWAP, so we know that that's a counter trend location. If we don't get over it, then we're not kind of doing that full up move. All right. Super, super lame day. Oh. Or as far as the spy, everything else is fine. Yeah, so cheers. Hope you guys are enjoying your day. Anything else? DHX, is that new? I'll take a little look at that guy. Eh, nothing fun. LPSN still in an uptrend again, down towards like that 620. I basically bought more shares as we kind of sold down towards 620, re-averaged down. So basically went back to green P&L, readjusted the risk lower as we're still in an uptrend. So still holding LPSN, just basically averaged down from my initial entry because we didn't continue up. We pulled back towards support, added in towards support, sold on the pop up. Now averaged down, completely safe in that sense. What is the next one? KLTR. KLTR still working, still moving. That's good. I have very little on that, so whatever happens there is kind of just whatever. It's bonus stuff, but that one's doing okay. But man, I really wish they would have kind of gave me the entry on that, or well, re-entry, if you will. What about LPSN? Go back there. Meh. I'm probably still gonna have to come down towards 620. We'll see. We'll see other one. CYCU. CYCU still got some there, but it's still just kind of meh. Like I said, we're kind of late on LP. We're late on a few of these things, but I think they're okay still in that sense. Like CYCU, I figure we just have at least some momentum up, then we can get something on it. But so far, it's being a little bit of a turd. All right, so there we go. The tick charts kind of got reset a little. Well, not quite, not quite. So the tick charts reset. Maybe we're gonna finally press this little long pop, but really it's ADSPC getting bought up, bought up. Advancing declining issues, kind of bouncing a little bit there. So I'm assuming we're kind of bouncing a little bit on the spine, nothing crazy. Just not in a position for the market to just boom, that's all. Bitcoin basically going down. I know it's so crazy. Bitcoin's going down. Who would have thought? No one. QNRX is rolling over now. Feel bad for all those poor souls buying into that stock. They're just well, it's just again, they're just late is all. LPSN. Ooh, kind of missed that re-average there. It's all right. That's fine. That's fine. No biggie, no biggie. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Let's go. LPSN for the dub. Even though I kind of missed the re-ad there, would have been even better, but that's fine. That's fine. You can't get them all. All right. So basically, completely free play now for me on LPSN. Whatever it wants to do. If it wants to go up, cool. If it wants to go down, lame, but it doesn't matter. Well, KLTR. I mean, it doesn't matter at this point. Just let it do whatever it does. HNRG actually. It's not looking too shabby, but it's really kind of extended away from support. We just have to hope that continues. Ooh, wait, hold up, hold up, hold hold the phone, hold the phone. Can I buy the stock yet today? Let's see. Nope, they won't let me buy that one in my Roth IRA. It's funny, a lot of times the stocks are moving with some good momentum. They're like, you can't electronically trade this one. It's like more like it's going to be good. Well, maybe not, but it's so sometimes they won't let me trade stuff in this Roth for whatever reason. Probably trying to protect me, you know. Again, market's just pretty lame here this morning. We don't have an extremely bullish market, nor do we have an well, extremely bearish market. We will have a decently bearish pullback if the Magnificent Seven give up their move. I'll bring it up real quick just so you can see this is where I'm focused on right now. Like if you look at everything else, right? The volume of the market's flat, advancing declining issues down, S&P issues down, Magnificent Seven up flat. So if these stop roll over, then you will see, well, you're kind of already seeing it right now, the pullback a little bit, but it'd be more it'd be worse if this really starts printing a couple red candles. See, this just, it seems like everyone would think this would break down, but it probably doesn't, is be my guess. There's probably going to be some scummy pop back. Like, watch. Just like that. Now, it's nothing crazy, but again, it's just that just seemed like they wouldn't let that drop immediately. But anyways, we should also take a look at the volume weighted average price from that high there. Take that one down. So this is going to be a little bit of a trailing 1 minute over under VWAP resistance on this swing to the downside, if you will. Looks like, well, we don't even have a negative MAC on the Magnificent Seven, so if that MAC does turn red, that might make things a little worse. Again, it's still a swing long market. Just because we're pulling back today does not change that dynamic. So just again, make sure you understand that. It's okay to take little trades bearish if you want, but do know we are not extremely bearish by any means. Now that can always change, but it's not the case in this exact moment. Yeah, and you don't really have the tick charts overbought, right? So tick C is not overbought, oversold. So none of the ticks are overbought. So you're not like it means as far as you read that. So there's no ideal entry based off tick here within this market structure. Again, if this doesn't drop out, and kind of continue down, we should expect the market's going to just kind of do one of those candles that pushes back into that 1 minute volume weighted average price. So again, if we don't just keep sliding, that's probably what we'll end up doing is a push back into that VWAP. Good morning, everybody. All the beautiful souls tuning in this morning. We appreciate you guys. Well, I appreciate you. I guess there's really no we other than me currently in this stream. All right, so we're kind of starting to see some of that. I mean, some red prints there on the Magnificent Seven. There's the market popping up a little bit. Oh, wow, that's funny. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen, right to our volume weighted average price. See how that candle spiked right up into that green box? Again, that was it doesn't matter what I said. That's just how the game goes, right? So Basically, as we mentioned, if this market does not, you see how we're down? If it doesn't continue, we will push it right to there. All right. Just like that. Just like that. Now, if the 1 minute chart wants to stay bearish, this is where you'd create a 1 minute lower high. And obviously the, resistance over under is that box as we've already kind of discussed. So there's the start of, you see how we're starting to move it down off that view app. That's again a 1 minute lower high, high frequency trading setup there that we basically just did. And not enough resistance to keep that 1 minute market down, which again, if you guys think about it, right? We're not extremely bearish on this day. There's nothing telling us we should be extremely bearish. So when you're thinking about this market and it breaking down, are we in a sell signal in the market? No. Is the volatility index or VVIX breaking out? No. Granted, we do have some things going down in the market internals, but again, the markets are not really fearful, guys. Remember that. So this all makes perfect sense as far as, kind of it not going down. Alrighty. That's a good old look at that. That's a perfect, I mean, basically what happened here is everyone saw the way this looked, right? So if you think of people in patterns, right? They go, "Oh, it's failing to go up," and then they see this harsh little boop and they're like, "Oh, this thing's meant to go down." And then slam back up, right? So that's a perfect example of those that might look at chart patterning and think that something is bearish, when if you look at everything else in the market, VVIX, volatility, this, that, and the other, it does not say we're in a bearish market. Now, we might have some short-term movement down because of market internals, but institutions are not fearful right now. The market is not fearful right now, right? So when you're shorting, remember you're shorting in an uptrend. Just like that. That's how you get smoked, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you get cooked. That's how you get a little, that's how they drip that olive oil. They lather you up in olive oil and then throw you on the hot pan in Syria. You know what I mean? They hit you with the bear spray. You thought you could be a bear, and they were like, just kidding. Here's some bear spray. And then you go running. Bam. So now what? Well, now we'll take the opposite. We'll watch a anchor view up off this low, right? And we'll see if the HFTs are willing to hold higher lows on the new dip long here. For any of you ICT concept traders in there, I mean, you can see, like right here would be a 1 minute fair value gap that was in the chart, like right from there to there. So that would be a 1 minute fair value, right? So think about, here's a 1 minute fair value gap left on the upside. Everyone's selling it down in an uptrending stock market. VIX is not fearful. Institutions are not fearful. Then the dip gets bought up and blows up right through the 1 minute fair value gap. So someone that was trying to use 1 minute fair value gaps there, that would be, a logical idea. I think we should go back up and fill that 1 minute fair value gap, right? It would be harder to do that if the stock market was bearish. If the stock market was in a sell signal, you'd be more likely to see it go like that and then maybe hold a lower high and down, right? So then you wouldn't get that. But now that we're in a buy signal, the market's uptrending, the markets aren't fearful, you'd be more likely at succeeding at targeting a fair value gap on the upside since you're trading in the overall direction of the trend, right? Fair value gaps don't tell you where markets are going. Trends tell you, well, that's not entirely true, right? Trends tell you which side of the market we're on and where what direction we're trying to push things. Fair value gaps and untested levels are all things that are left behind, right? So that fair value gap was left on the upside, left behind us. We're in an uptrending motion. We've come back and filled it pretty quickly. If we were in a bearish market, arguably we wouldn't have filled that. We would have drained out, right? So cheers to that. Hopefully you guys are learning. Hope you guys are enjoying our pretty much our I would call this a general market stream, a broad market stream where we can basically run through your volatility indexes, institutional volatility, stock market, S&P 500, penny stocks, crypto, you name it. And we are here for you. Me here for you. All right, we're going to be looking for a pullback down to the volume weighted average price here. So basically down to here, where I'm going to draw that line. Arguably, I actually might have missed something in there. Actually, that could be a little wrong, but because we really should put a view app on even maybe this big breakup one, but it should at least be that zone right there. So we kind of did it already, if you will. Again, I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on today's market, which is how scummy it's moving. So that went from overbought down back close to oversold. All right, so we're again basically just pulling this market back into volume weighted average prices. Everyone that chased up this long is all kind of pissed off now. All right, so now here's the 1 minute VWAP support. If this holds, market kind of pops up again. If it doesn't, then we're just kind of in this choppy, lame market for the time being still. So the most fun thing would be for support to get held here and at least push us up. But again, this market, based off of what we've been seeing, is all about playing games today, not about following, easy flowing order, if you will. All right, there's our high frequency trading 1 minute pop offset VWAP. Again, so that's how you think in terms of like high frequency trading. All right. Buying into the low of a 1 minute candle as soon as it tags support. And then when the new 1 minute candle kind of comes to, a lot of times those high frequency trading computers will shift the bid and the spread, right? So that's how high frequency traders just won on that. And when I say HFTs, I mean literally like HFTs. We're buying into that dip on the 1 minute, flip the spread, and then they just sold, and now the next 1 minute candle's red, right? So I'm not saying you should necessarily be doing all of that. I just scalped that 1 minute there for like a point and a half, which is basically nothing. But sometimes the opportunity presents, and I can be like, yeah, there's a small dip there. I'll just buy it, whatever, and if I make money, it's cool. So I did a little small scalp there. Literally bought into this last 1 minute red into that VWAP. They then flipped to the next 1 minute, flipped the spread positive, and I sold on that 1 minute candle. So that was just a 1 minute scalp trade. But yeah, and now if it continues going up, great. But like I said, I'm just not super sold on this market today. I feel like it's going to play games more than anything. So I'm just not, I'm not overstaying my welcome on any trade today, just based off of what I've seen so far. How the market internals have been, volume's been flat, advancing declining issues were down, now they're kind of up. Same with the S&P issues down, now kind of up. So it just hasn't been one of those just full blown, let's just rip everything long today. Or short for that matter. So, the sooner you can gauge that and read that, a lot of times you can be a little bit more well protected on the day. You won't be buying, arguably buying into a high that you think is going to keep going or, shorting a low that you think is going to keep breaking down. And so, anyways, that's all good. Oh boy. See, that's why I'm annoyed. Remember I was saying I was trying to buy ENGN, but they wouldn't let me buy it? So, like, here's a perfect example of a great trade I missed just because my broker wouldn't allow me to buy shares in my Roth IRA account. So, let's go look at this one, right? So, what do we talk about? ENGN a little bit ago, and we said, oh, this is coming down into support, and I'd like to buy, which this is the support there. And let me show you another thing. We also use the regular trading hours 4 hour chart. So I kind of use the 4 hour on the regular trading and the extended hours in conjunction sometimes, but that would basically tell me that our back test of support, right? So think about ENGN, right? What do we talk about all day this morning? That's the 4 hour breakout. There was no legitimate corrective back test. There's the back test. That's what I was trying to get long in. That bottom a second ago if you guys are watching the stream, you could go back and you'll hear me a little bit. Oh, ENGN, my broker won't let me buy shares electronically in my Roth IRA because they're trying to protect me sometime, whatever. So they wouldn't let me buy this one for whatever reason. And I was trying to buy it down here on this dip because I knew that was our support back test, and now we are up 18%. So I basically missed a potential 18% there because my broker thinks that I am too smart or too stupid to save myself, apparently. Yes, that's all. Thank you, broker. Appreciate you. Yes, don't give me 18%, give me 0% because that would make me far more happy in life. Yay! Then again, probably is for good reason. Next thing you know, PR comes out on ENG and they find out they've been smuggling humans or something, so yeah, maybe, probably not the best stock to buy. I don't know, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Don't hit me with a defamation lawsuit, ENPN or ENGN. So, as expected, just a scummy, scummy market. Yada, yada, yada. Let's see. Do we got any decent 5 minute? Oh, we did kind of miss a 5 minute fib setup here. So this is going down to the 161. It probably did it. It's pretty close. Yeah, so that one, we arguably had a 5 minute fib scalp setup, but it's kind of done. Question is are they going to do the 161 hold, run us back to the GP that's untested? That's a good question. Well, let's see. The tick isn't really oversold. S&P's going down again. Nasdaq's going down again. So, again, we're kind of hands off long for a second. And there you go. There's the drop again, as expected. Now, that looks a little aggressive. There might be some news or something taking place. What time is it? 10:06. I don't really think we had any economic data that was gonna. Right, is it Tuesday or is it Wednesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday. All right. Yeah, I don't know what. That just flopped out to a 261. Hmm. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Now this one is getting a little interesting. So we're going to start anchoring some VWAPs again from the highs, and we'll see if the market plays nice at any point and wants to actually do a trend move. This one's a little challenging too because there's really no, I don't say there's no great anchor spot, but there's big drag there. Those ones are always more challenging to anchor to. Yeah, I'd have to probably throw an anchor there too. We're gonna make that our zone. No, I'm not even gonna put the box. I don't even care about it anymore. I just watch the VWAP. Oh, my ENGN would have been an absolute banger. Um, JJ for the day. JJ, thanks for tuning in, brother, and thank you for the very kind words. Um, Yeah, I mean, I think I do okay as far as teaching. Just some context for you. I don't know how, if you're new, if you're ever gonna, I guess the question is, have you ever even seen my channel? Do you even know who I am? I used to have an older channel that was recently popular, kind of, and I'm creating a new. Oh, my ENGN, such a banger. Yeah. Think or swim. You deserve to trip on your shoelace. Whoever the owner is of Thinkorswim today definitely deserves a step on a piece of gum. That's it. Nothing more harsh than that, but you deserve that you step on a piece of gum on your brand new shoes. That's all. Nothing worse, nothing more, but at least a step on a piece of gum for not allowing me to get into that banger. Golly, look at that. Jeez. Mm. The worst part is I was going to buy the exact bottom of that move. Well, there's always tomorrow, and there's always another setup tomorrow, which will happen, and we'll be here for it. But yeah, JJ, thanks for following. Don't know if you knew about our old channel, but I hope you're brand new and you've never known who I am. If you don't know who I am, that's a good thing. That means YouTube is finally showing our channel maybe to some new eyes. So I'm hoping this is your first time ever even seeing our channel. So yeah, there's our counter trend pop back on the market. Not qu Oh no, are they doing it? Are they? No. Why is my computer not working again? For some reason, the browsers are just getting out of whack this morning. Oh no. Are they working in their sensor again? I don't know. I hope not. That would suck. It could be Zoom. Sometimes when I'm using Zoom, my computer gets a little funky. So it really just might be Zoom that's causing the problem. But I couldn't say for sure. Oh my, look at my ENGN. Oh no. That would have been a small account builder position today, but you know. Well, let's see. Anything else moving? Anything else decent? Oh, speaking of, do I have? Oh, I do still have wait, my LPSN. Why is my computer tweaking out? Who's hacking me? Who's hacking me? My LPSN, let's go, baby. All right, I'm gonna close there because I'm good. That was up 10%. So I closed out LPSN. We're all good on that one. Check my other ones. I haven't really been paying attention to. CYCU, I'm break even on that. Looks like it's not really working efficiently. KLTR, I'm full. Wait, really? I'm at a 0% return on that, so I'm just break even on that one too. I guess so. I guess on $1.82. Ain't doing ish. I'm just gonna close that. I don't care if it does good. I don't have to think about it anymore. My turb. Oh snap! I forgot to put a stop in on that one. Dummy, but whatever. Turb got cooked. Turb. Yeah, down 27% on turb. That's because I bought some this morning pre-market, then held some and just never put a stop in. But at least I'm still green, so whatever. Okay, and the market is holding resistance below the 1 minute volume weighted average price from the previous high. And yeah. So, what does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? It means I don't know. It means I have no clue what's going on. I have never done this before. This is my first time ever streaming to YouTube. It's actually my first time ever looking at a stock chart. I just, yeah. All right, I'm actually going to take like 3 seconds and use my brain a little more than I have been, because I just want to see if, yeah, I just want to look at some other stuff and kind of get out of this time frame and just kind of flip through some stuff. There's a 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. Nice. That's good, JJ. Appreciate that. Yeah, so that would tell me this is the first, yeah, not like the first time you see my channel, but you're definitely a new viewer, and yeah, I'm very appreciative of that for one, but also it makes me feel good because it tells me that what was I gonna say? It tells me, arguably YouTube is, definitely getting our voice out a little bit to some new viewers. So that's cool. Appreciate that. Yeah, do not, do not flee from that 10 and 50 SMA system. I've been using that system for years now, and I have not stopped using it. I've only got better at reading it over the years. It's not a perfect system, but I would say, and I've been doing this since my early 20s, even like 19. I think I opened up my Thinkorswim account in 2014. So that was when I first started playing with Thinkorswim and starting to invest a little money here and there and what have you. So going all the way back to 2014, where 2025, so 11 years that I've been working on Thinkorswim in general. So 11 years I've been very active in the market, and I've learned a lot of things. And I still learn to today, but I would say probably over that 11-year period, the best thing I ever learned was that system that I'm teaching to you. In the sense that for me, it always keeps me on the right side of the trend. That doesn't always mean that, that it's easy to trade but you're usually never confused as to why the market's up or why the market's down a lot of times. So do not flee from that system. Keep watching it all the time, over and over and over. And I'm hoping you will quickly come to the realization that I did that the stock market literally operates on this system to a degree. Um, there's other nuances to it, but you can kind of think to yourself that the 30-minute time frame that you're looking at that SMA, that 30-minute flip that we talk about, that is market makers rebalancing the books up or rebalancing the markets down. All right. And if you add a 1 hour 50 SMA to your chart, now you're watching institutional trend. So 1 hour 50 SMA, regular trading hours, 1 hour is institutional trend. 30-minute is market maker book balancing trend. All right. So if you think of short-term trading, shorter-term trading, shorter-term swing trading, the 30-minute is where that market maker is flipping markets. How people get really pissed off, right? Because one day they're short, markets are tanking, their options and their puts are blowing up, right? And they're making good money. And then 2 days later, their options return is cooked. It's gone. And they're like, how did that happen so fast? And that's because the market makers flipped the market over the 50 SMA. That instantly crushes volatility because now volatility is in a downtrend. So that 30-minute flip is how we basically balance the markets in a way. And then we IV crush the markets that way because if the market was in a sell move, so market below 50 SMA on the 30-minute, market makers slipping books down, etc., running markets down. Say you have puts, they're doing really well, right? So say your puts are doing really well. Say the market went down $10, your puts are crushing it, right? And then 2 days later, the market starts to bounce. Now it's only bounced $2, right? But you got a whole $10 drop on your essentially on your books, right? You bet puts, you got $10 down. All right. 2 days later, market starts to bounce. Now it's only gone up $2, but 70% of your profit's gone. How? You're like, I literally got $10 down. The market's only gone up $2, but somehow they've erased 70% of my gains. That's because the IV crush, right? Or the IV removal, if you will. All right. So as the markets are going down, volatility is going way up, way through the roof. The implied volatility of your options is going through the roof. That's getting priced in. So your options are worth more. 2 days later, it starts to bounce. Though it didn't bounce much, you notice that all of your gains have been erased for the most part, or a lot of them. That's because the market maker at that point has flipped the market positive over the 50 SMA. And as a result, if markets are working in proper order, at the same time, the VIX just broke down the 50 SMA. So now volatility is leaving the market. Volatility is the fear is leaving the market. So though you only bounced $2, behind the scenes, what happened is we have rebalanced volatility. We're taking volatility from an uptrend and now we're entering it into a downtrend. So all of your implied volatility is going to just get removed, right? Even though the market hasn't really bounced a whole lot, right? So those are all these little important things that you end up learning as you start to apply the system properly. You can apply the system to penny stocks, you can apply it to regular stocks, you can apply it to the volatility index, institutional volatility. And then when you start to kind of bring them all together, it becomes more of a storybook that you're starting to read each day, right? You go, oh, is VVIX up? Are institutions buying or are institutions selling, right? And then you look at the VIX and you go, well, does the VIX confirm what the institutions are saying? Yes or no, right? And if yes, then you're going to see that reflected in the stock market. Basically the storybook that you read every day is look at VVIX, see what institutions are doing. If they're breaking out VVIX, that means they're hoping that volatility is going to increase, and if volatility increases, then the stock market's going to go down, right? So you can read the storyline pretty well. It's going to take a couple years probably, but maybe with a little guidance on my behalf, you might get there a little quicker. But expect maybe a couple years to start reading the stuff pretty efficiently and get a good grasp for it, and so on and so forth. So, all right, let me take a look at the VIX here. Haven't really been paying attention too much, but that was important. So again, the VIX is really basically not really doing anything that matters. Let me see. I mean, it's bouncing, sure, but we have not triggered any sort of level that's very important. No. Now the VIX is on the 5 minute trend, so if we break out the 5 minute trend, that just might, I mean, it's just a little signal for high frequency trading computers that, markets are just moving down a little bit in the immediate. But anyways, so again, if you look at the market internals here, we'll bring them up, right? So let's see, volume on the market flat, really nothing, right? Advancing declining issues down, S&P issues down, Magnificent Seven, major market cap stocks down. Take a peek at your market and you see what? That it's been doing what? Going down. So it's all making perfect sense. There's nothing that's happening here in the market that doesn't really make sense. We're not having an extremely bullish day, and we've actually kind of transitioned to more bearish over these past 15 minutes as it relates to behind the scenes market internals, right? Now, we do have targets on the S&P down towards, 678.45 or so. Don't be scared of this little bounce. It could just, again, just very well just doing a counter trend pop back to the VWAP. I just added it there so you could see our last, what would have been a green candle was this red that popped up, then went, or green, yeah, red candle that popped up, went green, blah, 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 anchored to that, and there's your 1 minute VWAP expected retrace level. So if the 1 minute chart is going to continue lower highing, it would stop there, but obviously it's already broken through. So we're not really too worried about that. So we'll go back to the most major one, which is up there. So as long as the market maintains below pretty much, yeah, pretty much where we're still at, this thing can still come down some. Speaking of, I didn't really think about that. So the open was here. I kind of forgot we had a gap down. I didn't really forget, but I didn't really think to do this. We have a gap down. So we've almost completed the 161 extension of today's overnight impulse move. Haven't quite completed it, but pretty much. Which in theory means you really shouldn't be extremely bearish going into there. So we'll see if we can get that bad boy down there. Would like to see that 161 on the SPX all the way down at 6805 and even the SPY to 678. That would be nice. Just depends. Just depends. Bring it back to the SPY. What's going on with Bitcoin? Bitcoin not really doing a whole lot. Basic. My KLTR finally started moving, but whatever. OENGN would have been fun. Would have been fun. Okay, let's see. STV. Ba ba da 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 what am I doing? What am I doing? That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Copy. Oh, snap. I forgot to turn off our live stream from yesterday. I always forget to do that. Let's see. Content. Live stream. It would have been yesterday, which was the 10th, which means it would have finished. Still says I'm live. Finish event. Gotcha. Or not. That'd be cool. Yep. All right. Yeah, once again, post a link there to our website at basically in the next 6 minutes. We'll be ending stream here on YouTube, and you can partake on continuing to watch today's stream by going to our website. It's completely free to watch the live streams there. Again, we're actually streaming from our website to YouTube, so feel free, join there if you like. If not, no big deal. Alrighty. What about Bitcoin? I actually haven't really thought extremely hard about Bitcoin, whether or not we got a support to trade off of. Not quite, and I don't like the way that chart's really set up. So basically, our current targets for Bitcoin would be down to, oh, come on, down to here. So those are current kind of targets for Bitcoin on the downside. Our most recent was the box on the upside. So now we're looking to take the market from this box here down to this box here for the time being. So as far as like support trades, not really interested in any short-term support trades on Bitcoin with futures because there's no reason. I don't, not that it couldn't work, it's just not on something I care to trade. I would look to be long maybe off that VWAP or that VWAP for a little micro scalp, long bounceable trading opportunity, but we're just not quite there. And so we'll see when that hits. All right, SPY. Just doing kind of everything we thought it would. It's just kind of a scummy day. Kind of doing the old push back, pull back, push day, do day. No, but it's just again, we're not doing anything crazy on the market today. Like we said, it's just kind of lackluster. Now we did just come into the top down volume weighted at well, not quite the top down volume weighted average price, but decently close. And bang, there you go. So again, that's just tracking the VWAPs of the breakdown. So not quite the high, but kind of really where the market started to break down. There's our volume weighted average price of that. So, and we're still below this major high here. So the 1 minute chart really is still kind of in a lower low, a lower high sort of function. Maybe not a lower low, lower high because we're above that one. But either way, that's a VWAP off the high, scalpable short location, if you will. Hmm. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. Just a side note, guys, remember that we here at the Stock Market Network do believe that Bitcoin has entered its bear market in October of 2025. That analysis was put forward a few years ahead of time. So, 2022, 2023s, etc. We've pretty much put forth that we should go into a bear market on Bitcoin starting in October 13th of 2025. Since October of this year, we have been going down. The market has seen a 20% decrease from the highs on Bitcoin, so already flirted with that bear market territory. I am not currently long biased Bitcoin in the sense that we expect it to keep blowing up. I expect we're going to be seeing, bearish to, underperformance on Bitcoin over the next year to 2 years or so. And we have price targets for the bear market downside as far as 50 grand. Heck, we have some as 45 grand, but mainly our main goal or main target would be towards 55,000 right now for Bitcoin. So basically going to get clipped more than 50% if you're talking from the highs. So if you go from 120 to 50, well, that'd be like 60, 70 or something, right? Maybe I'm saying that wrong, but Let's see. So let's see what we got here. Is that right? That should be so right from the highs. Yeah, about 57%, 60% or so downside for Bitcoin, arguably. Now, I hope I'm wrong because that's just going to suck for everyone. But so far, it's all correct. I haven't. I hate to say it. The analysis, not me, but the analysis has not been wrong yet. Again, I mean, let's see. How long has this been? So basically back here, I was, I don't know, 1020, so 1000, so 365 would be 6, 720, 730, 720. So almost 3 years. So for 3 years, we've been pounding the table on be long Bitcoin, essentially. Not really 3 years because we didn't recommend really getting too long biased Bitcoin over the past year or so as we've been in these highs. But for 3 years, we've been bias upside Bitcoin. And now, just in October, we shifted to bearish to underperformance with downside targets as far as 50 grand. So everything has worked almost too good, which was long for 3 years. And then basically here in October, we shift bias to bearish, and it's gone down 20% arguably since. So far the analysis has not been wrong. It's been almost scary correct. So again, I hope I'm wrong, but if my analysis keeps proving correct, then you will see 55 Gs, 50 Gs, and it's going to be at least a year and a half, 2 years before everyone gets all excited on Bitcoin again. All right, well, that about does it here for the stream. We're going to go over to our website now. I see there is nobody in our meeting on our website yet, but maybe, just maybe, fingers crossed, one beautiful human will choose to join us there. So anyways, we're going to end the stream here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Catch you back tomorrow. If not, I'll see you on the website here in about a couple seconds.